Hey guys, just wanted to talk to you about a really interesting job that we did, or I did, in collaboration with a friend of mine's workshop. We sort of talked on the phone and we ran through it together and we got it solved. Um, Basically, what it was, this is a VZ Commodore. It's a 6 litre V8, and it was running rough with a P0300 random misfire code. So he got it in from his customer. His customer already did a few things to it. Plugs and leads already done. When my friend got it in, he did a few checks on it. Obviously, he checked the codes, P0300. He did a compression test on all the cylinders, and they averaged around the 180 mark. One cylinder was down at 160, but not really enough to cause an issue. And even still, it would only be a single cylinder issue if that was the case. He pulled the injectors out, sent them out. They were resistance tested and checked for operation and flow, and that all tested out really good. So then he posted on our Facebook group. We run a mechanic group in Perth called Mechanic Talk that has about 600 members in it. And he just wondered if anyone had any ideas on this. So, I jumped at the opportunity. I love this sort of stuff too. So I gave him a call and we had a chat over the phone. And the first thing we did was talk about getting some live data of the fuel trims first. So I'll show you that. So as you can see, this is our idle. Long-term trim on bank 1 is quite high. At the moment, bank 2 looks all right. So he just gives it a rev in this part here, and you can see that short-term trim goes very high as well. So we know it's adding a lot of fuel at higher revs, which indicates a fuel delivery issue. So that's where we're at then. The first thing we thought was possibly an injector being poor in operation or very low flow, but he already had the injectors checked and confirmed with the guy who checked it, and they were 100% sure that all injectors were fine. So then, just quickly, because the Schrader valve is really easy to get to on these, we talked about just doing a quick fuel pressure test and obviously snap throttle and see what happens. So as you can see from this, decent pressure at idle, but snap throttle reduces the fuel pressure, so we know there's a fuel delivery issue. So we then talked about checking the fuel pump powers and grounds, making sure there was no voltage drop or anything like that. The fuel filter had already been replaced, so we obviously knew there was a fuel pump issue. Obviously I wasn't there, so we couldn't get the amp clamp on there and actually have a look at the fuel pump itself. But we took the punt and replaced the fuel pump, and this is what happened. So fuel pressure is now good. Snap throttle will show that it barely ever moves, it goes down slowly, so we know the fuel pressure is definitely fine now. Now, the issue is that this fixed the fuel pump issue, but the problem was still exactly the same regarding fuel trims. So as you can see, he actually goes wide open throttle here, and as you can tell, bank 2 goes fully rich, bank 1 goes lean. So we know there's still a fuel delivery issue on bank 1, but injectors were fine, fuel pump was fine, everything else was fine. So we had to figure out another way and find out what exactly was going on there. So we just banged our heads together and we came up with this little scenario. Alright guys, just got the layout here. I'm going to draw on this picture. So obviously top is bank 1, bottom is bank 2, and top one was the one that was running lean, and bank 2 was the one that was running normal. So if you think about a MAF sensor, alright, it's just the front of the engine here. We're just going to put the exhaust behind so we can see a sort of rough indication. If you think about a MAF operation with the engine's breathability, then let's use some theoretical values. So 100% airflow tells the PCM to give 100% fuel to both banks. So if you think to yourself, how could this really affect one bank only? And that's pretty simple. Let's block the cat on bank 2. So now the engine's breathing ability has dramatically reduced, so the MAF actually can't draw as much airflow as it's supposed to. So let's say the MAF is now taking in about 50% as a round number, 50% airflow. It tells the PCM that it's only getting 50% and to give 50% fuel to both actual banks. So bank 2, because it can't breathe properly, it reads normal. But bank 1 has got huge airflow as per normal and it pegs it lean. So that is exactly what happened. What we did is my friend dropped off both exhausts at the headers, and the car did a burnout standing still. So he took it for a drive and it ran fantastic. So he took both cats off. The left-hand side was okay, bank 1 was okay, bank 2 was completely blocked. Now you might be saying to yourself, this is a bit silly the way we went about it. Maybe you should have just done a volumetric efficiency test first and you would have seen that it would have had a blocked cat or reduced breathability. But if you think about it logically, it doesn't actually matter because it needed a fuel pump anyway. So even if we did do the volumetric efficiency test and we found the cat, we would have put it all back together and it still would have been running lean. But yes, it would have been on both banks. But it doesn't matter because the injectors were already looked at, and if it was running bad on both banks, then we would have gone straight for fuel pressure and found the fuel pump faulty anyway. So it still would have had a fuel pump. So essentially we did the exact same test, just it doesn't matter which order it was done because it needed the fuel pump anyway. So I'll show you how it looks on the road. So as you can see here, it's running quite normal, and then he gives it wide open throttle right now, and you can see oxygen sensors go fully rich, trim stay normal, car is completely fixed, and here is a video of it running at idle and a few revs just to show you that it's running perfectly now and prove that it's all fixed.
He's smooth, man. This car has not run this good ever. Don't worry about that pulley.
So hope you guys found this informative, and hopefully it helps you with something if you get a similar issue to this. Appreciate any feedback you have. And thanks for watching.
Oh yeah.